I'd like to try this again. Alright, so this video, it's an old video. I recorded it like 2 years ago, and I released it, and for some reason, no one saw it. Like 53 people saw it. The other videos around it, one has over 1,000, the other one has almost 8,000, but that one, 53 people. For some reason, no one picked it up, and it wasn't meant to be the way it was. The title was like, "Are you an artistic sellout?" But really, it was a review of a pen. And I was also talking about selling out and what that means. But I think most of the opinions here, I still feel that way. But you'll see the way that I'm talking is I was still very timid in front of the camera, just talking on a video. I wasn't in front of the camera. I was behind the camera, drawing and doing a voiceover. And it just sounded like I was holding back a little bit. But I think the opinions in it still hold up. So I want to see what you think. I'd like to get it over 53 views this time. If we can do that, that would be wonderful. All right, let's get into it. Hello, everyone. And today we're going to be talking about, are you an artistic sellout? Also, I'm going to be using for the first time, and you see me filling it up here, the Picasso 916 Malage or Malage. It's M-A-L-A-G-E. It's the I guess the blackout version, the stealth version they call it, and you can see there it was a little bit hard to get going. I had to use the converter and spill some ink out the tip, and then it wrote just fine. And it wrote pretty good for the whole drawing, so we'll get into it. I mean, you know, I hear about this so much in the music industry especially, but this could be for any kind of artist. Sure, in the visual arts, dance, literature, any kind of art. Really, you hear this phrase and people say this person's an artistic sellout or that person's an artistic sellout, but the reasons that they give are very strange. Doesn't matter what you do, every artist has the desire to create, and let's see if some of these things, and of course I don't think these first things are, but let's talk about some things that are not what makes someone a sellout, and then some things that maybe could, I guess. What about if you're an artist and you do landscape paintings and someone says, look, I really would like you to draw a picture of a bird for me. You think you can do that? If you draw that picture of a bird because you're going to get paid for the job, does that make you a sellout if that's not normally what you draw? Or does it just make you an artist who's creating something else and you're able to fund the things that you really like to do? Draw, paint, whatever it is. So, you know, I don't think that particular thing right there would make you an artistic sellout. What about if you are an acrylic painter and someone asks you to paint with gouache for something, for some reason, whatever the reason is, or watercolor or something like that, and then you take that and you do that? Because something similar to, I don't know, maybe a guitarist plays music and someone wants them to run a bass line for them on a recording that they're doing. Does that make them a sellout because they did it for money? Or, you know, similar with the painting, what about if it's a different kind of music? What if the person is used to playing rock? So someone likes the way that they play and they say, hey, can you run something on this pop song for me and just run a riff for me or whatever? Same thing with art. It's the same thing. Really, I don't think that makes you a sellout. I know a lot of people like to use that word, especially in certain groups, different types of music. They're very pure to certain things, and if you do anything outside of that thing, then they call you a sellout, especially if you got paid for it. Or maybe those songs are what pay the bills to fund the project that they're really wanting to do, and they're just doing that in the meantime. That's like if a chef goes to school, you know, they want to be a chef. They want to put together a dish that has certain elements and certain flavor profiles and things like that, but in the meantime, to put themselves through that schooling, maybe they need to work as a short order cook somewhere. Maybe they're working in a fast food restaurant. Who knows what they're doing? Maybe they're not even working with food. Maybe they're doing a cashier at a dollar store or something like that. Does that make them a sellout, or does that make them hungry enough for what they want that they're going to do anything to get it? And so when you have a musician or an artist or a writer, and I don't know how that would apply to writing, but maybe it would. Maybe it would be someone who used to write novels and they're asked to, you know, co-write on a child book or something like that, whatever the case is. Does that make them a sellout? I don't think so. I think that makes someone dedicated to what they're doing, and they understand that sometimes they have to take advantage of opportunities to fund what they really want to do. I don't think that makes them a sellout at all. Now, what would make someone a sellout might be if what they're doing is it goes against a principle that they have. For example, let's use that chef as an example. They're going to chef school, but let's say they are vegetarian or vegan, or and I'm not really too sure what the difference is there. Let's say they are that, and they don't believe in any meat, any kind of meat, or for whatever reason. Let's say it's a moral reason than anything else, and then they are asked to do that. They're asked to make those dishes that they don't believe in. I mean, and that's different. That goes against something that they're morally against. And so that I can understand. If you are morally against something, but you're willing to do it as long as you get paid, that could be considered being a sellout. Like when you have an artist that branches out and does a different kind of art, maybe they're used to doing hyperrealism, and all of a sudden they start doing, I don't know, abstract art for whatever reason, and they get paid for it, and they're doing very well with that. Maybe that's just funding the other things they really want to do, is what I'm saying. So before you use that word sellout, maybe you want to think it over. I don't really know too many instances where I could ever say, hey, that person was a sellout. Or you could see it applied in art where maybe it brings you more followers. Whatever the case is, you decide to go against what you actually want to do and paint something else because of its popularity. You could say that that person would be a sellout. Or you could also say that that person has a strategy for becoming popular. It's kind of difficult to say, because I know a lot of times, well, I draw and paint whatever I want to draw and paint. It is not my, at least at this point in my life, it is not my primary source of income. So what I do for art is what I want to do, and I'm going to be able to build a base around that, around what I want to do. And those people will follow me because of what I'm doing, not because of something else. But some people, their strategy for their business is to become popular because first people want to know the answers to their questions. They want to see the things that they want to see, and then when you build a community that's big enough, you can start adding things that they never knew they wanted to see, and maybe they will like that also. Or maybe everyone just turns around and says, you know what, you used to do this, and that's why I started following you, and now you're doing this, and I don't really want to see that, and goodbye. And that can happen as well. Here's my advice. If you want to tackle something like art, music, writing, life is too short, do what you want to do, and let the people, you will always find people who will relate to that. You'll always find people who want to be a part of that with you. And just grow slower. There's nothing wrong with that. And you can connect with a lot of people that you're maybe are just as passionate, or if not more, than what you are about that particular subject. So I haven't really talked much about at all about this pen. It's a great pen. It wrote pretty smooth. There was a little bit of hesitation in it in certain parts, but I think it was the way that I was holding it. For the tip on this pen, you have to hold it fairly straight. If you just tilt it even a little bit, you get no ink out of it. And I think that's what I was doing sometimes, is just not paying attention and just tilt the pen a little bit. And I think that's because it has a smaller nib. Even though it says medium, this does not look like a medium nib to me. To me, it looks maybe something like a fine nib, or I would say a fine nib. It's probably about a 4 mil, maybe between a 3.5 and a 4. It's definitely smaller than a 5, but it worked really well. So my question for you today is, what's your favorite type of art style? Do you like abstract? Do you like realism? What is it? What gets you going? And be specific. Let me know what kind of mediums you like. Do you like watercolor? Do you like pen and ink? Do you like acrylics? Do you like oils? What do you really like? Please leave your answer in the comments below. And I know I've gone through and said, hey, if you like the video, click the like button and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. But really, if you've seen this video and you enjoy what you saw, You're going to click like yourself. You're going to subscribe yourself. You don't need anybody to tell you to do that. And so I'm not going to. Surprise me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.